You are very likely operating from some core patterns or limiting beliefs that you've been programmed with, brainwashed, whatever you want to call it, that is prohibiting you accessing divine energy or ascension. So I'm Mocha Mazel. Welcome to my channel, Decolonizing the Divine, where I talk about how you can access divine energy without all the oppressive stuff we've been bogged down with over the millennia. Okay, this is my book. It'll be linked in the description, and this is where I'll be sharing this information from. So this will be in my book, and it's under the section that says core patterns that limit divine connection. Okay, let's get started with the first set of things. So I have five in here in total, so I'll go through all of those. So what blocks divine connection? Okay, understanding this, understanding what blocks it helps us recognize it so that we can move through it and we can release whatever needs to be released on our spiritual journey or our path. Okay, these key limiting patterns include fear based patterns, right? A lot of us operate in fear for a lot of things. This is something that has been programmed and instilled with us. We can not listen to ourselves. We can not take action on things that would probably benefit us in the long run. There's a lot of reasons why we have been conditioned to function in a particular way. What are fear based patterns? One would be operating from survival consciousness instead of trust. This is a story that is familiar with us all too well, especially black folks who have had to experience life in America. Survival consciousness, operating in pure survival all the time. We're always worried about where this is coming from, um, you know, where the money is coming from. We are conditioned to have so much lack, right? And if we understood what abundance was and how to access our natural abundance and how to let things gravitate towards us, you would not be operating in survival and subjugating yourself to things you don't really want to do, like working a low paying job that stresses you out, that is not good for your health. You would not be so inclined to take it upon yourself to do those things. Yes, I understand we have needs and we have bills and things like that. But if you understand that that's a starting point and you start understanding your energy, you can start moving out of that survival energy. All these things boil down to energetics, again, which is why the reason I wrote this book, so you can understand your energy, right? All these things boil down to energetics. When you think that money or food or whatever is a limited resource, you are sending that is the energetic state that you're operating in, and you're going to have a harder time freeing up your energy so things can flow to you, right? So when you operate in an abundant state, I don't lack for anything. Even though I'm working this job right now, I'm doing it from a place of my energy is in abundance, right? I know that I have access to more, right? And I'm going to keep putting my energy into towards accessing whatever that is, right? So you have to start tricking your brain and tricking your mind and training your subconscious on how to access your abundance, right? It's not going to just you know, be like a, one trick pony. Like you're going to have to keep practicing it, right? The next thing would be making decisions from fear rather than divine guidance. Your intuition, especially if you are a woman, your intuition is literally God. That's literally God trying to tell you what to do and tell you how to move. But when you operate in fear, you do not listen to yourself because you're scared of what's going to happen. For example, when I talk about moving abroad on my other channel, I get a lot of fear based questions. What if so and so does this? What if so and so does that? And it's why stop worrying about what other people are going to do and tap into your energy, and you will get the guidance on how to go about and navigate things, right? Fear is a block, it's an energetic block, right? And it's again, you are giving fear on purpose. So you need to start understanding how to move beyond that. And when something genuinely occurs that you need to be eerie of, you'll know. You'll know when it's time to be like, and you side eye. some stuff. But you need to start developing, like, just trusting yourself and trusting your inner guidance. That inner guidance is literally God. That's literally God, okay? Another fear based pattern is seeking security through control rather than alignment, right? We've all we all have been that person, or we know somebody who was that person who was like a control freak. They have to make sure everything is like. Whereas if you release control, right, and instead put your energy in a state of alignment, you'll yield much better results. So, for example, I'm trying to find something that I experienced. We all have these experiences, but I should have. So let's take money for example. So we try and control like the money, or we try, or no, let's put it. So we have people who try and control our flow of money, right? So that may be like a job or something like that. So if I understand that some type of something is happening that's controlling my flow of money, if I then remove that conditioning from myself and, put myself in a state of alignment to where I can not have my income determined by somebody else, right? And I get to a point where I can achieve that, that will be operating and moving yourself towards alignment. There are plenty of examples of this, but basically, you may have a parental figure that did this and, tried to control you by like not letting you do things or experience stuff. Whereas if they were to just put themselves in energetic alignment and trust themselves and trust their intuitions, they would have been able to give you probably more clearer guidance on how to help you navigate through things instead of like keeping you completely withdrawn or not letting you just explore and experience things. Okay. Happy Sunday. Okay, so here's another core pattern or belief that may influence your divine connection. Okay, religious and spiritual conditioning, right? I did a video a while ago called "Religion is Keeping You from God." A lot of our religious and spiritual conditioning is a product of colonialism that we need to start delving deeper into. But here are some blocks that may limit your divine connection, right, regarding religious and spiritual conditioning. Believing that divine connection needs an intermediary. And one of the reasons, like, I'm getting over it now, but one of the reasons when I started having like all these, I started going through my ascension process, and I was wanting to talk about it more, but I was like, I don't want people like seeking me for like spiritual counsel. You need to learn how to do these things for yourself. You have very direct access to divine energy the same as the next person does. You do not need, depending on where you are in your journey, right? You don't necessarily need a pastor or a preacher or whoever else, right, to connect you to God. You're already connected. But what happens is we have been conditioned to seek these things outside of ourselves and not trust our inherent programming. Again, depending on where you are, I know some people are like still kind of babies and they still need that guidance, but you can get that guidance, but don't rely on that for spiritual connection. You have that within yourself. You can start calling it in. God, tell me how I can connect with you. Tell me what to do. You might start going through things, but that's the process. You have to start clearing these things out of your energetic field, enable for you to start getting clearer receptivity on how to connect. All right, that's how this goes. But you don't need anybody. You don't need any outside force. You need to learn, basically. Once you learn how it works, you learn how it goes, you become your own advisor. And that's what I hope people are starting to learn and understand. You can do this like for yourself once you strengthen your muscle, your spiritual muscle, and you learn more and you start to expand yourself outside of what they told you to follow. You'll start getting this communication like more clearly. Okay. Um, Another thing, you are being fearing spiritual punishment or judgment. A lot of reasons people do not understand and have been spiritually disconnected is because you've been conditioned with the idea that you will be punished, right? You'll be punished for communicating with your ancestors. You'll be punished for trying to get a grander understanding of like what divine energy and God is. You'll be punished for that. Um, a lot of people operate under just Jesus or just church or just religion or just the Bible mentality. God is bigger than that. God is so much bigger, like, than all of that stuff, right? And I personally, from my experience, I believe God has a system of things to help us advance spiritually. You have your ancestors, you have the planetary system, you have the elements, right? I've shared my experiences with the water, okay? You have the elements. Um, you have what else is it? You have God, and you have all these things working in tandem with each other. You, God, ancestors, the elements, and whatever else is available that you want to talk about. But we have these things for a purpose. And when you go demonizing other stuff, you are literally limiting your connection to the divine. You're limiting your connection to that energy. Um, and you have all these resources and tools available for you. My grandmother will come and send me messages. I'll get messages from the water. It's like you have all these things, right? When you've been taught to fear them, and again, this is especially with black people, I noticed, the only people in the world who've been trained to disconnect from our ancestors, black Americans anyway, and other people in the diaspora who have existed under slavery for a period. We've been the only population of people who've been taught to disconnect from our ancestors and not seek ancestral counsel. It's on purpose. It's on purpose, and it's by design, right? So when you think that you're going to get punished, or like you're going to get, sent to hell or whatever, which that's a whole nother video. You're playing yourself, basically, is what you're doing. Okay. Another thing from religious and spiritual conditioning is you doubting your natural spiritual abilities. I swear, it's like every other day, I'm discovering something new that I can do. Once you spiritually ascend, you're going to get access to quote unquote magic. Your energy is going to be stronger. You're going to be able to do all these things that you will see in like the movies and stuff like that. Not like, well, I don't know what we all like completely are totally capable of, but don't. It's not like, again, um, like I can go just like fly or or something like that. I don't know. Some people astral travel. Is different. You don't know what you'll be capable of until you start going down that road and start working like with your energy and understanding. Like you got access to a lot more that they told you that you do, right? And I think that looks different for everybody. So I don't know. Maybe some of us is out here flying, and I don't know. But you just really, it's so much we've been disconnected from. Like we're literally magical. We're literally magical beings. Okay. Here's the third thing, the third core pattern that may be blocking your spiritual connection, and that will be colonial conditioning. Right. A lot of my folks suffer from this. What is colonial conditioning? One, disconnection from ancestral wisdom and practices. Your ancestors knew how to access divine energy. They knew how to access God. They understood that God was your ancient ancestors understood what this was. They knew that it was something that you inherently possess, that you connect with. They knew that. And again, you've been taught to seek all these things outside of yourself. It's on purpose and it's by design. You have been disconnected from your ancestral wisdom and practices, so you don't actually understand your own energy and your own power and how it works. Okay, separation from nature and natural cycles. Do you know how much of our mental, emotional, and physical things that we deal with could be just alleviated, or not so much of like a burden if we went and go spend time in nature like we used to do, and stop being fixated on all this other stuff that don't really matter? when you go to the water, you have a feeling of you feel good, or you feel like you can like release, or you can just be flowing and moving. That's on purpose. These elements are energetic beings like us. The water is alive. The water is sentient. The air, the wind, the trees, the earth, all this stuff that we've been given, we've been disconnected from. We don't understand its potency, right? We just know how to take from it and use it, but we don't understand that we are in connection with these things bigger than we know. We working together. We are working in tandem. And once you understand these things, they'll start to bless you. Like, and then again, because of like our conditioning, we've been taught to demonize like connecting with nature in that way. It's they hold knowledge. Think about the water. And so when the water started to come and like, make herself be known to me, and I started developing this relationship, and I started to think like the water been here since the dawn of time. Like if the water is a sentient being, I mean the water knows a whole lot. The water got a whole lot of information. And so now, like, I be getting curious. I be wanting to know what happened this time and what happened. Like, that girl, she got all the tea. And she be showing me and telling me, too, in various ways. But your ancestors knew this. Your ancestors knew that women were spiritual beings. They knew that we were connected to the elements. Like, we weren't just out here. They knew this. This is ancient understanding and ancient wisdom. These are the powers that we've been disconnected from. Okay, separation from nature. Okay, yes, and the next thing is the next thing regarding colonial conditioning is the dismissal of indigenous spiritual knowledge. They knew what they were doing, right? And colonialism has taught us, oh, that was primitive. Oh, that's demon stuff. That's You've been taught to dismiss. Do you know how many black folks will sit there and turn their nose up at their ancestors? Your very folks, your peoples. Your peoples. You call your ancestors demonic. Because white folks told you to do that. It's ass backwards. It's brainwashing. That's literally spiritual protection you are hindering yourself from. In the spiritual world ain't gonna go away just because your ass is scared. Like stop living in fear with these things and understand, connect to your heart and connect to your love. I've never had like a frightful or frightening experience, right? If you are operating in a stank, low vibrational energy and you're trying to teeter-totter in the spiritual world, that's probably going to be your experience. You're probably going to have a negative experience because your energy stank. Anyways, okay. The the fourth core patterns or limiting belief that we have been indoctrinated with would be patriarchal limitations. So women have been in a big old psyop, or we've been in a big old trick. We've been a big old brainwashing of not trusting and listening to ourselves. The patriarchal limitations that are limiting your divine connection is you distrusting your feminine intuition and wisdom. You have literally been taught to seek everything from the male, when you are the one who's very much more likely spiritually connected than they are. You've been taught to not listen to yourself and not listen to your wisdom. And now look at us. Now we're trying to figure out, oh, what we done did. Yeah. Tap back in, sweetie. Get reconnected with yourself. All these things will start to happen for you. I promise. I promise. The next thing with patriarchal limitations, overvaluing mental processing over emotional intelligence. Now we are starting to grasp in this day and age, because again, like this stuff was understood back in ancient times, but in this day and age, we are starting to value and understand emotional intelligence. You are an emotional being for a reason. Again, that's the divine. That's God communicating and moving through you. You are energy in motion. That's what emotions are. Energy in motion. You don't know how to navigate your emotions. You don't know how to master your emotions. You have been taught to put everything into the mail. So now you value mental processing, which is important. I'm not saying that it's not, but your emotional intelligence is there as well. This is how women who are tapped in can move and navigate through life so much smoother and easier because they honor and feel their emotions and they listen to what their emotions are trying to tell them. You have those things for a reason. They're there for a reason. If you understand that it's part of your divine design for you to know how to understand your emotions and use them to navigate, yes, your navigational system. That's your compass. Your intuition, your emotions, all of that stuff is trying to communicate to you, not for you to suppress. That's why they're there. And your resistance to natural spiritual abilities. You thinking like spiritual stuff is like beyond you or like I don't know. Whether you like it or not, you're naturally connected to the spiritual world. If you, especially if you're a woman, like you're naturally connected to it. That's your divine design. That's how you were created to receive communication from up there. Okay. All right. And the fifth core pattern that limits divine connection uh, will be personal barriers. Ourselves, right? One would be attachment to limiting identities and roles. So this is something that we've been programmed with in America, and we are so tied to our job titles, or we tether these things together with our value, right? Or what we think we're worth. So a lot of us are identified through our jobs. Oh, I'm a teacher, I'm a this and a that. It's like, no, who are you before that? That's what you do to earn income, or it's a part of you, but we center our whole entire existence around that, which again limits our access to divine connection because we don't know. We probably supposed to be doing something else. But because we are stuck in, oh, this is what I am, this is what I must do, you can't get on your trajectory, on your pathway, because you think that's all that's available to you or that's all you can be. Okay? Unresolved trauma and emotional patterns. When I started ancestral veneration, what I didn't know what I was doing at the time was I was also venerating myself. I was also releasing trauma from myself. I was releasing emotional patterns from myself and I was learning and I was practicing. It wasn't an overnight thing, but essentially that's what you're doing. A lot of us, especially black folks, have traumatic patterns that have kept recycling in our lineage because nobody has dealt with it. Nobody has said, what is this like? And start to like face it head on and actually understand what's happening. Not enough of that has happened. Because one, we don't even acknowledge our ancestors, a lot of us, or we think it's evil and it's demonic to do so. When I started to speak life into my ancestors, I started to speak life into myself. I activated my own self. I'm thinking I'm just, trying to heal my ancestral lineage. I forgot I was a part of that ancestral lineage too. You're doing it for yourself as well. So when you start to, and this is a lot of people don't like to do it because they're scared of the emotional state that it puts them in, the experiences or the trauma. They don't want to deal with it, and I get it. But what also is happening is when you don't deal with it, you don't face it, and you don't learn how to work that stuff out of your energetic system, you don't learn how to work it out of your body, it's going to manifest in other ways. sickness, mental health issues is going to keep manifesting itself until you understand what this is and how to clear it out of yourself and your ancestral lineage so we don't have to, it stops, right? I know it's a lot of stuff that we don't want to deal with with my process, and because like I had to face stuff because I knew it was holding me back. And so it was a lot of crying, a lot of, anger, a lot of stuff I had to start processing and working out my system energetically, right? I didn't just rely on a book or something like that. You have to put that energy into motion and transmute it and learn how to work with energy. You are an energetic being. Learn how to use your energy. Learn alchemy. Basically, that's all it is. You're taking lower dense energy, you are transmuting it into higher energy. You're taking it from down here and you bringing it up here. That's all it is. Understand that, and you'll be on your way in a lot of ways. Okay, and then another personal barrier is resistance to transformation and change. A lot of people, especially like I've always been like like I was always hopping around. I was always kind of welcome change. Like, but a lot of people don't. People, I didn't know. A lot of people are complacent. They don't like being challenged with new things. People don't like change out here, and I'm like, why? You are ever changing. Are you the same as you were last week? No, you've changed from an embryo in your mother's womb to a full-grown adult. You're always changing. What are you talking about? The only constant is change. You're always changing. Like, that's inevitable. Get with it. And the smoother the process. Like, move, change, redirect, pivot. Like, you liking or want to stay complacent and being resistant to things that are inevitable anyways, you're only wasting your own time. You're only blocking your own self. That's all it is. So, anyways, so those are the 5 core patterns that limit divine connection. Once you start clearing out those blockages, and a lot of it is just having the awareness, right? A lot of us just don't have the awareness. When I started to understand that women were the natural spiritual or the original spiritual teachers, and we've been bamboozled out here by these folks who don't know even how to connect spiritually. Once I started to get that awareness, more information started to come to me. More understanding started to come to me. So a lot of it is just having the awareness. So I have this and a lot more, in my book, Decolonizing the Divine. I have charts and graphs. it's like a mini textbook, but don't get overwhelmed. But it is basically trying to help you get a deeper understanding of divine connection. See, and I'll probably do some videos on these charts and graphs. But if you want this copy for yourself, you want to read through this information, you can grab it. It's $27. It'll be linked below, and I think it's amazing. I think you should try it. But so I have the book. Also, I have a workshop that I'll be hosting soon. I'll put the link for that as well. It's called Reawakening Your Ancient Divine Energy. It's for Black women to understand the natural energy that they carry, and how to use it to transform yourself and change your life. So I'll be sharing that in the description as well. And I want to thank you so much for watching and sticking with me. Please show me some love. Do all the things. Please like, please comment, and please share. And let me know if anything that I said resonated with you, or if there were any core patterns or limiting beliefs that you have been working through, and what the experience has been. Okay? See you next time. Bye.